This election's been described as one of the most fiercely contested in decades. What do you see as the single most important issue for voters right now in Samoa?
There have been many many different responses provided during our campaign meetings with the districts, and we had gone over many issues, which will become the major issues that will influence the decision of voters. To me, the major issue that the voters have to address, upon which his or her decision will be based, is the question of leadership. If we, and I mean the voters, if the voters opt again to vote for Fiame or Laudi, I can tell you this country would be in a greater mess than the 3.5 years that they ran this country. And that was my response. The concern that that our people should be worried about is the possibility, not the probability, the possibility of either Fiame or Lauli becoming the Prime Minister. Right now, with the responses that we have been able to get from every district that we visited, we are confident. We are extremely confident that we should win this election.
Fiame, I spoke to her earlier this week and I asked her about her style of leadership and questions surrounding the collapse of the FAST government and the split. And she had said that her style is more hands-off. I wanted to ask you, well, first of all, your comments on that, and also what do you think your style is?
This is the major downfall for Fiame. When I was Prime Minister, I followed the process, and we have a cabinet process whereby any issue submitted in a submission, written submission, must require a report from the Treasury to ensure that funds are available for such a project. As well, Treasury must also give us an economic analysis of the project itself, for and against. We would also ask the Attorney General to submit a report as to the legality of the actions proposed for a project submitted, and also the relevant department, the ministry, for instance, if it is agriculture, then we also must get a submission from the agriculture on issues impacting a project proposed. The reason why is that the cabinet must be clear on all the points for and against. This is a point which Fiame very often dislike. The position is that she often raised, let the minister responsible, whatever that minister wants, let him or her do it without interference from cabinet. This is a response from a leader that has never worked in government. So she lacked the experience of the transparency and accountability principles of good governance. She does not understand good governance principles. And when she left us and joined up with Lauli and then form a government of a party of their own, the two of them put that principle into practice of non-interference. And so all the problems that they face spring from the very issue of individual approach to major issues of economic significance, and of course the amount of the lack of transparency creeps in, and also issues of conflict of interest is never given any importance, and conflict of interest was always present in their decision making, where ministers sought to engage in decisions that in the end would benefit them financially.
Okay. So I mean, obviously you always mention collective responsibility, and I suppose that would be your style of leadership as well. But I also want to ask, do you think that that maybe has something to do with your refusal to concede initially after the 2021?
When we talk about collective responsibility, it is a well-known principle of leadership in all Commonwealth countries. It is the principle in which a leader maintains his authority over his ministers. Once that principle is not observed, then you will have a cabinet that will fight amongst themselves, and the Prime Minister loses his control. It is a common practice amongst Commonwealth leaders to follow collective responsibility. That means when cabinet agrees on a major action to take, you would not want a minister that goes around and spreading stories that he did not agree. There were issues that should be looked into. It causes divisiveness in a cabinet and in a party, and the result, of course, is infighting. And with infighting in a cabinet, you can never engage in proper management of projects benefiting the country.
So you're saying that with the HRPP caucus, you always have these discussions on major issues.
That's right.
So just following on from that, I know I just want to cover this 2021 election
You
part.
must remember that we follow this principle
Yes.
from our, we learn from New Zealand practice and Australian practice.
Yeah. Was there ever any discussion after the defeat in 2021 that perhaps your leadership was what led to
We had many discussions.
Okay.
We had many discussions. But of course, there were many issues which also caused our fall. For instance, a lot of our MPs were so confident that whoever is put up, the people will vote HRPP. So a major downfall that we had right from 1982 was the failure of members of parliament to accept the simple truth that if you have too many members standing for one seat, the vote will spread out so much that a candidate from another party with a small number of votes taken would win. So this was one of the major downfalls in our system. So it's not all about leadership. It's also about a party system that all the leaders in the past have tried to impose, but the party members continue to support the fact that people will always vote HRPP. So, remembering that 60% of the voters vote for HRPP candidates, vis-a-vis 30% voting for FAST and the FAST one. Something which Winston Peters raised when he was here. He could never understand why the HRPP lost when 60% of the population voted for the HRPP candidates vis-a-vis the 30-odd%. And I explained to him this problem. That is why we are very particular. We put on just one candidate, and in only a couple that we have put up two.
Yeah.
Because both candidates are strong. And also we look at the 10% as well. Possibility for a woman candidate to come in.
So lessons learned from 2021.
So we have learned big lessons.
Yeah.
The other point that I tried to elaborate on, we have candidates that the party did a lot of projects for candidates, and if the vote is based on performance by the candidates in terms of what the candidate has been able to promote candidates with government providing funds, and therefore should come in easily, but did not and failed to make it. raises another important point, and that is your own personal attributes also come in. The issue of visiting and talking to your constituency also comes up. So no matter how the party perform in building projects for a candidate, if the candidate is not liked, there's no way that that candidate will come in. So these are a number of lessons that we learned. And of course, there's also another major impact, and that is the $1 million promised by those guys. For the first time, people were driven mad, each one thinking that $1 million will cure all his or her problems. And this money would be distributed. When the FAS government took over, it wasn't the case. Nothing was distributed. But instead of the cash, wheelbarrows and spades were distributed. A lot of people did not get any of these items. In fact, in some districts, reports have been rife of people receiving these items and going around to other people to sell. And the question was put, why? They said, well, we are given things that we never asked for. It's been forced on us. We want money to buy food for our children.
Yeah.
And that is why we decided to help the people, help our people by putting up these three broad categories of help to ease the pressure of the high cost of living by giving them monies instead for each person to go and buy the goods that he wants, rather than going through a committee. The huge portion of the million has been diverted by the committee to pay their own high allowances and awarding items to only people in the villages and their families, ignoring many who don't reside in the district. So those are the people who are asking, why is it that we didn't get anything for the 5 years?
Does that mean then that you would disband the Whānau Whāwai if you come back in?
It is not necessary anymore. It's not necessary anymore. But we did set up these, we call it committees, development committees, whose only function is to meet casually and talk about what MP should need to do, which is a very loosely formed committee that requires only a cup of tea and discussions, and then the member of parliament is armed with these proposals, who in turn comes and visit the minister and ask him, these are the things that I want to do, and then keep following up. You see, in any situation, you don't visit the minister once in a whole year. You visit him for what your district wants, and you see him again next week, and again the following week. You keep following up. Following up is a great procedure to ensure that what you want is provided.
Just going back to Fiame, basically has come out to say that, I think decentralization of government, pushing more towards local government is where they would like to go. I take it you are not a fan of this idea.
We've done a lot of that before. A lot of people in the village need guidance. In 1976, when Tuila'epa became the Prime Minister, there were three of us, young management public servants that form up a small development committee to encourage the principle of planning from the bottom, not from the top. And it involves exactly what the FAST was doing, handing out fertilizers and also barbed wire for fencing. And this was funded by the United Nations grant from 76, 77, 78, 79. A report was prepared in 1979, and it was a complete misuse. People tend to misuse these grants if you do not follow up, and there was no follow-up. Reports of huge fertilizer loads that were granted to a lot of villages for plantation, banana plantations. They were found to be left out in the sun and rain and were never used proper. So a report was prepared, all copies of that report were destroyed, and the program was terminated. There was also a similar program in 1970, whereby the government at the time handed out about 8,000, I think, dollars to every village to take care of their own plantation access roads. And it is one of my first projects to go and inspect as a public servant. I was just beginning. And I was assisting Tuila'epa as Minister of Works. So I visited Savaii and visited 2 villages. When I came to that village, it was a pity to see these people, men, women, and their children, practically using spades, some using sharp sticks to dig, and they shovel the dirt over to build a road. You only have one truck to go over it, and it sinks. So I came back and gave a damaging report. Stop it. It is useless. The cabinet were furious when I submitted my report. Who is this young fellow? to come and tell us to terminate what has been done during the times of the New Zealand government. So they went to see. And when they came back, I was told by Tuila'epa, who was Minister of Works, I had a big laugh. They all agreed with your report. So from now onward, all this money that we paid out to the villages would be stopped, and that the government would change its process. What is the system now? We tell that the villages, wherever government's machinery are located, that come to maintain the road, the public road, the village where the machinery is located, may use the machinery for their works after hours. The only condition is that they provide the food for the evening for the boys. That was the government project until we took over the government, and we decided, no, we cannot do that. We cannot continue that. We will build and tar seal the plantation access roads, which we did, and enabled families to move inland and started farming up their agriculture lands. And the first village that we used that new policy was flagship. And if you go to that road, which is tar sealed, I think it is about 3 to 5 miles from the coast right to the inland. And it was the first village that we tar sealed their access roads in 1999 during Luangalau's term as Minister of Works.
Yeah.
It was after that village project that Luangalau was shot and murdered by one of my ministers. When we also changed the side of the road, which allows cars from New Zealand and Australia, where 99% of our people emigrate to, and from which relatives were able to send cars to relatives here. The productivity increased enormously. Not only that, but it also encourages people to move inland, away from the coast, and to the safety of possible further tsunamis that comes with climate change.
Thank you. I just wanted to touch on the manifesto, the HRPP manifesto. I know you've mentioned this before about where the money comes from. I was just hoping you could tell us, where will it come from? Is it going to be from maybe new revenue, cuts, or debt? And what sort of timeline are you looking at to achieve
We
goals?
we have development partners, and we have begun to talk to them. What the development partners have found very positive in our approach is the high degree of transparency and also transparency and the ability to report on the works done. This is, transparency and accountability. The two principles under the broad term of good governance. So we were extremely favored by our donors because they were able to trace the usage of their funds.
Yeah.
And of course, the final proof of the proper usage of funds and the rise in the standard of living of our people was when in 2014 Samoa's economy was graduated from the least developed status to a higher income level country from 2014, because now the GDP has been raised and also per capita income raised to that level where we cannot continue to qualify to remain as least developed, as a poor country. Of course, that being in that category entitles us to borrow from concessionary fund provided by the ADB and also the soft window of the World Bank, which requires us to access to concessionary development loans, where about 33% or thereabout of the loan is grant element. So that is why our economy was able to grow quickly. And so our donor partners were very generous, because they know that what they give us, we use properly. In fact, in 2012, when we were in Argentina for the meeting, the conference on climate change, I deliver the statement on behalf of Samoa and told the whole world, particularly the AOSIS countries. These are the least developed states. That Samoa would host the next meeting, the United Nations meeting on small island states in Samoa. And the reason why we would invite them and partners, it means the 200 members of the United Nations will come here. It is an opportunity for our donors to see for themselves what we did with the aid monies. And it is an occasion for developed countries to know that developing nations use their money properly, and that they should continue to be generous to help small island countries. And that was my reason, which I gave, which sounded very well and favorable to the developed countries. And so the United Nations approved the meeting to be held here. That meeting provided the Samoa pathway, which became a guideline for the preparation of the 17 goals for development that we, leaders of all the countries of the world, that gathered in Paris in 2015 and signed the Paris Agreement.
Yep. So we're looking at development partners and obviously concessionary loans. Are we
And our own, of
and our own
course,
budget?
our own monies.
Will you be cutting from one to go to another?
Remember that when we became the government in 1982, Samoa didn't have any money, was bankrupt because of mismanagement by the previous government. We had no money and had no foreign reserve. That's why we ate chicken backs at the time. It's the only freezer rubbish that we were able to import at the time. And so when we came in, I, as Minister of Finance, put in amendments to 24 acts to raise our financial resources to fund government projects. Then in 1994, we approved the extension of the VATST to cover a lot of other goods and services. The VATST was imposed by the government of Ma'ai and Tupua, the coalition government, our first taste of a coalition government. So they introduced the VATST, but we came and improved it further. So that raised our own ability to raise funds locally to fund a lot of our of government projects.
Yep.
Then in 2020, our revenue ministry proposed the continuation again, the revival of the tax on ministers of religion. When I talk about ministers of religion, that was an act that was current in the times of German administration, New Zealand administration, and also when we became independent in 1962. So for 15 years, from 62 to 77, ministers of religion were paying tax. And so the revenue ministry tried to reintroduce this. It was accepted by all the religion except the Congregation Christian Church. Knowing that this was not popular, so that was left out, and we turned to the TIMS, which is now continuing. And TIMS really is providing a lot of revenue for the government. What it does is to enforce the compulsory use of machinery to record sales every day correctly. And immediately the sales details appear in the customs, so that automatically we know exactly what we should get every day. Which means before we introduced this, there have been a lot of businesses that didn't return proper tax liabilities.
Yeah. Just talking about money and all of that, would HRPP run a forensic audit if you come into power? Would you run one based on the FAST government?
Well, forensic audit is an audit that is required for an action in court.
Okay.
And we have quite a few forensic auditors in the audit office. This government thought that we did anything wrong, so they wasted 1.5 million to fund a forensic audit, which up to now we've been asking and there's no report. But what we gather was that there was really nothing serious that the forensic audit conducted, and it proves the point that all this suspicion was all rubbish. What amazed me was there was Fiame that was there for 25 years, and she should have known that no decision was made with any evil intention, and yet that is the weakest nature of hers, to allow this thing to go on under the pressure from Laudi. What she did not see when we asked in Parliament what kind of audit, what kind of projects, the minister at the time, Ana Losa, immediately said, we will kick off with the airport at Tuila'epa. I think Fiame completely lost or completely ignore the fact that since Fiame was in charge of lands and titles, especially Tuila'epa, which included references to financial
Just a compensation, was it?
compensation for land owners. What she did not see, that in fact Lauli was targeting her. And of course, Fiame would never have done anything stupid. But Fiame completely lost the point that she was being investigated.
Still on the HRPP reinvigoration, so it's clear that there's a youthful element to HRPP now, especially within the ranks of your subcommittee who prepared the poverty alleviation initiatives. Was this a conscious choice you made to relinquish some of the responsibilities to others in HRPP?
What do you mean?
Was it something that you chose to do after the last election, sort of pass it out to everyone?
Widen our vision to take into consideration what FAST did and why our people's attention was turning away from us.
Yeah.
And so what we have to do, we have to play the game now. Their game, and do it better. In politics, you just can't help our people thinking politically. They were so easily misinformed, and much of our talks on the road shows was to correct all these baseless allegations that FAST made. The worst one was in relation to the sale of customary lands to the Chinese.
Yeah.
And we posed the question, Samoa is listening, everybody, do you find any interior customary lands in your village being owned by a Chinese? Nothing. And you cannot do that in Samoa because this is not allowed for under our constitution. And you can only do that when a question is put to the nation, whether they would like to sell lands or not.
Yeah.
And nothing of that has been done. A plebiscite. We've never done
Plebiscite.
that. There was never a plebiscite on this issue.
Yeah.
But people tend to believe a simple rumor. I mean a stupid rumor. And we try to correct that view. Even right there in our meeting today, I had to speak again on this issue.
I think that kind of ties into my next question about, if you recall, before the last election, there was a lot of talk about those 3 bills.
Yeah.
And there were people saying there wasn't enough consultation.
We had people that went round for 6 months, round the whole country, and it came to about 85% approval. Viame herself had an issue, a personal issue. Viame was totally opposed to the Land and Titles Court and the way it was strengthened, simply because the court dismissed her claim to the Dafa title. And all she was wanting to do was to hit the president, kick him out, and along with the Land and Titles Court to be returned to be under the Supreme Court. And she never cared about the 300 odd cases that were unheard, that were not heard, because they kept accumulating while the CJ sat on these cases for many years. A lot of them, a lot of people involved were dead. So that is why when the work was too much for Patu, he asked Tuila'epa to come over and be the president. And so Tuila'epa worked on those cases and clear the whole backlog, which was why it was very important for us to ensure that we have the Land and Titles Court included in the in the Constitution with full powers.
I do recall at the time that was one of the first times we saw Fiame vote against,
Yeah.
especially to do with the president at the time when there was the vote in Parliament.
And that was her first breach of the principle of collective responsibility. And I stood up in Parliament and told her, right off, you should be sacked from the cabinet. And then in the meeting that followed, she apologized to me.
Do you think that was the beginning of the end?
That was the beginning of her end.
Just talking about women's seats now. So you introduced the quota, which has allowed
10%.
Yes, the 10%, which has allowed some excellent candidates to enter politics. What are your thoughts on her bill at the moment that's looking to change the calculation and also the service for?
Unfortunately, it hasn't.
Still a bill.
There's still a bill.
I just had a thought about the fact that the two leaders of your opposing parties, former HRPP, they were under your leadership for a long time. How does that make you feel that you're facing off against two very strong former HRPP members?
To me, they are not strong. A Samoan term, ele moni le malos, malosi me moni, which says it is not the power that is stronger, but it is the truth that is much stronger than power. And so that is why we continue to argue to be in the government again, to correct all these things that have been reversed.
You don't take any pride in the fact that these people, you've led them so well that they feel they can go on and lead?
Well, there is one thing that you must remember, that the final say is the voters.
Of course.
They were able to tell lies to our people convincingly. You know, people that do not operate on the rule of law, there is no durability in their cooperation. There will be a point when they will clash because there is no principle, good principle involved. As you know, we are Christians. No government can remain for long if it is divided.
What about the issue of a coalition? I know you've been asked that before, but realistically, how would that work then if you needed their votes?
Well, we can never talk about that until after the election.
But you would have some idea of what you'd want to do?
All of us have some idea.
Okay.
Of course, we have two coalitions so far, and they are the worst source of government in Samoa.
Okay, so I have a couple of public health questions I'd like to ask you. The first one being meth in Samoa being at an epidemic level. This is what the police commissioner has said, methamphetamine. We can see what it's doing to Fiji and Tonga. What's your plan to basically address this issue in our communities?
We need to strengthen the police and follow up on their work to arrest those involved. As well, to work very closely with village chiefs. The most effective cooperation against this would be the village chiefs, because they know very quickly. Because people talk. The problem arises from here in the city. As you know, we must have had over 200 criminals that have been returned from overseas, from America and from New Zealand and Australia. And a lot of them have been involved in this, and they're active. And the police are keeping a great, closely follow up the activities. Another problem, it's to do with the works that we do at the customs. We approve the equipment during our time, and the minister involved keep on delaying and delaying and delaying. During that delay, a lot of these trucks have come in. I think it is on now, and I think it would be a great help to finding out those who are involved. The police keep a very close network. They don't talk about it, but every now and again they go directly at the people involved and arrest them. What is needed is the cooperation of the court to deliver long sentences. And this is the problem that we have. We're having a court who do not agree with recommendations from the police. The kids will come out and repeat what they did. So the court is not helpful.
Is it because the legislation's not there for them to follow, or it's their
the legislations are there. The problem that we know, and we are going to look at that, they use the wording up to a criminal can be fined up to the limit of 10,000 units. And we have to look at that rather than say up to. We should fix the maximum and say not less than, and that will be the best way to control.
Okay.
The other point is apparently quite a few people are highly placed families in society. That is another complication, and we need the police to, regardless of who or speaker or what, do their job.
I just want to move now on to some regional questions. With the geopolitical tensions and everything happening with PIFs and all of that, what do you think about the Solomon Islands PM's decision to sort of block out everyone outside of the dialogue, the meetings that's coming up?
I think it is a wrong move. To me, that is a decision that should be made by the leaders of the Pacific Forum. And it should never be allowed to be decided by one country alone.
That you've previously referred to the Samoan diaspora as the wandering aimless, who shouldn't concern themselves with domestic politics. Do you still believe that now?
They don't understand what is happening here. And a lot of them base their accusations on false reports provided by Lauli.
I wanted to ask you about the Samoan media here, local. They seem to have their political preferences. Do you think this is a concern for any leader who wants the best for their people?
Well, I hold interviews every Thursday, and I invite everybody. Observer is in. Newsline comes, and TV1 also attends. TV3 never comes. But all my interviews, as was the time when I was Prime Minister, it's all open. And because of my concern with the fact that much of our politics can be misunderstood. Much of what we say is very subtle. I decided to write my letters to the editor in English. I found out that that was the most credible piece of information for all the missions here. Sometimes I meet them and they said, "Oh, thank you very much. We can now better understand what is going on here." What was funny, I don't think they hardly ever wrote anything to discredit what I said. They just turned very angry and started telling the observer, you suck up to Tuila'epa. And the observer said, we are all invited. What was interesting was I was visited by about 3 people when I was Prime Minister. I think it was 2019. 3 well-known journalists from Papua New Guinea. They heard that I sometimes have 3 or 4 interviews, as many interviews as the media wants.
Yeah.
So they came and told me why I did it. And I said, why do you ask the question? For 6 months, they have been asking Prime Minister Jim, and for over 6 months, they have been told that he doesn't have time. So they asked me, and I said, I don't know. For us, I have been the spokesman for Cabinet since 1984. And it is when I was spokesman, I fell for the journalists. It is their job, and they are depending on the government because the government has the most news. And the fact that our people also want to know what the government is trying to do. So very early on, I knew that it is very important to have an open door policy for the media. But I think there is a reason. What is the reason? You know, a lot of the media are opinionated, uh, and you can't blame them because they do want to sell the news, and people want things that look very bad in order to sell the newspaper. So I think you cannot, these are the thing which impact on all kinds of business. They also want to make money.
I just have one final question for you. I know everyone always talks about your service from the last 40 plus years, but I wanted to ask specifically, what are you most proud of over the last 4 years in opposition? What's the one thing that stands out for you?
As opposition, we suddenly realize that if we don't take these things and challenge them in court, and regardless of the court, we are going to create a record for the first time. The biggest thing that we have done, the HRPP opposition as a mouthpiece for the whole population who are unhappy. And so I'm doing exactly what I did as Prime Minister.